everyone, this is Amy. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I do a floral design with a round brush on this white painted Mexican beach pebble. I just got some new brushes today, and they're also Amagic brushes, number 2 and a number 4 round brush, and a number 4 Deerfoot Stippler, and a dotting stylus. With that, you can use anything to create dots. Even the tip of these brushes probably would work nicely. I am going to be using Thicket. All these are FolkArt paints, combination of multi-surface and enamels, and school bus yellow, pure orange, magenta, real brown, wicker white, and forest moss. Let's see if I can get that in there better. Forest moss. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to use the bigger of the two brushes for my flower petals. And I'm going to move them aside here. What I'm going to be doing on this is, I'm trying to get these in here where you can see it. It's kind of hard. I'm going to tip my brush into the magenta and into the orange, and then I'm just going to kind of mix it up a little bit, and then I'm going to stick the tip into the wicker white and go from there with it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and begin. These are very, very, very simple strokes. Let me back this up just a smidge. Just afraid you weren't going to be able to see it, but I don't want it too close. I want to make sure I'm on here. Alright, so let's go ahead and begin. Basically what I'm doing is just pushing the brush down, kind of swinging it around a little bit, and then coming back like that. Just making a basic petal shape. And then I'll do that. I don't have to do it every single time, but I'll do the dip into the paint every so often here. But just see how easy this design is, how easy it is to make a leaf shape or a petal shape for a flower. And then just come here and go like that. They don't all have to be the same. We're not looking to have each one be identical. I do want to put a little white in here though. And then come like that. Come down like that. Come down like that. And then I'm going to swing around here. Do my little addition of paint. Now, you can do it as a 4-petal, 5-petal, 6-petal flower. That's up to you. This one is a little bit larger, so it's going to have more petals to it. Now, when I get over here, if I'm doing a smaller one, it may not have as many petals, but you can vary them. Definitely not something that you have to have so many petals. This is just a kind of a, I want to say, a made-up flower, so it doesn't have to have any certain amount of petals because you're just creating it. So it's not something, you know, if we're actually going by a certain flower type, then you would probably be more stretched to have that happen as far as how many petals it has or how the petals are shaped and that kind of thing. However, when you're doing something like this, you have creative freedom. Think of it as with something like this, it actually, it's kind of a design where because you're putting so much paint on it, the coverage is going to be awesome. Okay, and then we're going to go over here. I like to create in threes, so we're going to go over here and do one last flower. So you're just making, you're pushing your brush down, kind of swinging it around and coming back up and bringing it down. You can go over it again if you don't like the way the tip of it is. And then just keep creating as you go around. I think they're cute. Very simple. Again, if you're new to my channel, make sure that you hit that thumbs up if you like this video. Keep in mind too that my videos are intended to be easy and something that a beginner painter can do. That's the whole purpose of my channel at this point. I just like for people to be able to sit down and be creative without being fearful of it, because I know a lot of people will say, you know, I can't do that, I'm not creative. I bet if you sat down and gave it a try, you'd be more creative than you think. Especially with easy techniques. And then if you like it, you can continue on and develop your skill. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and hit into the next one, which is going to be the number 2 round brush. These are long-handled brushes, so I'm not a big fan of long-handled brushes, but I'll tell you, I like the brushes. I just happened to get some flat ones, flat brushes, and I just have always really liked those. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a try and see what I think. And so far, good. Doing the same thing though. Basically, I'm just sticking my brush into the paint and then just coming through, painting where I'm going to be putting some of my leaves and maybe some basic poles, some filler flowers. And I hope you can see all this, and I'm sorry if you can't for some reason. Alright, so I'm going to try to keep my brush from rolling here. Just get my brush full of the thicket. I'm going to tap it into the moss green, and then I'm going to basically do the leaves the same way as I did the flower petals. If you find like you need to maybe make them a little bit more opaque, just go ahead and paint right back over them again. You can even add white if you want. And I am going to just do a little stem. And I can actually even just do some quick little petals just to get it to add in here to the design. Just so simple, so very simple. Alright, so let's do it again. I'm going to tip it into the forest moss. Come over here and go like that. And then maybe even tip it into some brown. And I like when the colors they vary, and you can keep adding more colors into the actual design, even maybe throwing in some white here. Makes it a little thicker. White is definitely a color in this type of paint that's more, it's high pigment, so it's a little bit thicker. So if you're ever having an issue with something being feel like it's too watered down, you can always add the white, which will help. Now, it may not completely solve your issue, but it will help. This rock is a little bit, I want to say, bumpy. It's not a real smooth rock. I'm just going to add a little bit in here, just trying to get this to look the way I want it to. Alright, and then you can come out here and just do some little leaves coming out from your project, or from the, you know, what you've drawn here, or painted here I should say, not drawn. And just kind of wiggle it out there a little bit. Come over it, just softly, not a big deal. And you can do that over here too, if you want to have this be, paintbrush keeps wanting to roll. If you want to have this be just kind of a branch that has just some basic leaves coming out of it, like that. And it's fun, you know, just to sit down and take a brush, play with it a little bit, and see what kind of designs you can get coming out of, depending on the pressure that you put on it, or what direction you go with it. I'm just going to pull these out like that, and maybe come back over it with a little bit of other paint. Yeah, I like that. Very simple, and you can just, you know, play with these as much as you want, with the shapes, the pressure you're putting on your brush, and even do, you know, some little, if you want to come here, maybe even add some little stems in here, or you can even just do some little like branchy looking things that come out from it, just to give it some interest, or you can just leave it alone. You know, it's really up to you. And I think I'm going to add a little bit of white to this one. You know, sometimes it just takes a little bit of dry time, and you can come back over it and just keep working with it until you get it the way you want it to look. I just don't want to mess these up by touching them too much. Alright, and I might just come out with a few little, just to fill them in here, a few little leaves. Just make them real simple. Again, it doesn't have to be rocket science when it comes to using these brushes. And you go over it with more paint. I like it. It's very simple. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is tap in the center. So I'm going to use my Deerfoot Stippler, and then I'm just going to come in here, pounce around the center. You can keep your centers very simple, or you can build and add on to them to make them more detailed. Up to you though, it's not necessary to do a whole lot. I'm going to tip this into the real brown, and then kind of just do my around the edge part like that. Now then I want to add, sorry, my brushes keep rolling. I want to add a little bit of the magenta. So I'm just going to tap it in, and just real randomly. It doesn't have to be perfect or precise. And then I'm going to come back on the front part of the brush and add in some wicker white. And I'm going to come in here and just dab it in. I just like very loose centers. Again, you can make them more detailed, you can work on them quite a bit, or just quickly do them and keep them simple. It's up to you. Now, if you want, with this design, you can go ahead and take your stylus. I'm going to dip it into the magenta and then just try to figure out some spaces where I can come in here and just add some dots. This part, you know, if you don't want to do, that's fine, leave it out. If you like to have just a little bit more dimension, then go ahead and add the dots in. And you can rotate colors, you don't have to do all magenta. This is just what I chose to do, since the orange seems to peek out a lot. And you can even come down here around the leaves if you want. I'm just going to leave it like this, not get too carried away, because I could, certainly could. Alright, if you like this video, please make sure you give me a big thumbs up. New to my channel, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And before you leave, if you would, do me a big favor, hit the share button that you'll see underneath the video, and that will allow you to share this video on your social network with all your family and friends. I would greatly appreciate that. Alright, thanks so much for stopping by. I do appreciate you, and until the next time, please stay safe and healthy, and you have a good one.